This is a good example of a sort of flowchart, a finite state machine that demonstrates a misunderstanding of the way finite state machines work. There are two parts. There are states, and idle would be an example of that, and there are transitions. The way transitions work is, if a certain condition is met, the transition happens, meaning that the game transitions to another state. So a transition doesn't have a yes and a no. If the condition is met, in other words, if a goblin is present, then a transition takes place. If the goblin is not present, no transition happens. The game simply remains in the idle state. So it's not a yes-no situation. It's not an if-then situation. It's not an if-then-else. It would be if the goblin's present, then transition. It's that simple. So you've got yes and no's throughout here, which, of course, isn't what should be happening. And it makes the whole thing much more complex than it needs to be. The best way to represent all of this is simply to label your arrows. You've got circles or ellipses representing both states and transitions, and of course that's going to be confusing. So just use ellipses for states, arrows for transitions, and label both. Another thing I see here is that you have a call idle state. Well, there's an idle state, and you should simply transition to that if that's appropriate. Again, this is not a situation where you want that to happen, because the condition for this transition, such as it is, means that you transfer to another, transition to another state. And if that condition is not met, then the game simply doesn't transition. I hope that helps explain states and transitions.